Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since I uploaded any video, but I'm back and I'm really excited about today's video because we are going to talk about one of the most important and honestly one of the most confusing concepts in English literature, and that is deconstruction. If you have ever opened a literary theory book and come across Jacques Derrida, you probably felt a little lost in all the complicated language, right? But don't worry. In this video, I'm going to break it down step by step in simple words and with examples you already know. And I can guarantee that by the end of this video, you will be able to explain deconstruction to anyone else without any hesitation. Let's begin with the term itself, deconstruction. It sounds like demolition, like destruction, like breaking something apart. But that's not exactly what Derrida meant. Deconstruction is not about destroying meaning, but it is about carefully examining how meaning is built and then showing that it is never as stable or as fixed as we assume. Now, traditionally, we think of language as a tool that clearly communicates ideas. If I say tree, you imagine a tree, right? But Derrida pointed out that words don't have fixed meanings. Every word only makes sense to us in relation to other words. So, tree makes sense because it's not a bush, not a flower, not a stone. Its meaning is always based on difference from other words. A house is a house because a house is not a hut. And because of this, meaning keeps slipping. It's never final. And this is also the reason why Derrida said language is always unstable, which means that when we read a text, we should stop looking for a single hidden meaning or message. Instead, deconstruction encourages us to notice the contradictions, the gaps, the tensions inside the text itself. The text is, in a way, starts to question itself. Let me give you an example. Think about Shakespeare's Hamlet. Is Hamlet truly mad, or is he only pretending to be mad? If you look carefully, the play gives evidence for both sides. Some scenes make us believe he is acting, while in others, his behavior looks genuinely unhinged. So we are, while reading the play Hamlet, we are also very confused. For example, there are thoughts in our mind. We are thinking that whether Hamlet is actually mad or he is pretending, and there is this confusion because in the text there are lines, there are scenes which are enough as evidence for both of these thoughts. So we are confused. So, a deconstructive reading would not force us to pick one answer. Instead, it asks us to see how the play keeps both possibilities alive. And that's the essence of deconstruction. In one line, we can say that the meaning is not settled, it remains open. So it means that according to the changes in circumstances, according to the changes in the time period, and also the text, there are, we cannot say only one meaning which is intended, or there can be only one possible truth in the text. No, there are multiple possibilities and there can be multiple meaning in the text. So deconstruction encourages us to be open and to believe that there would be a lot of meanings and a lot of interpretation possibly in the text. Now, to understand deconstruction more clearly, let's go through some of its key features. First, there is no fixed meaning. Derrida introduced a famous term, difference spelled with an A, and I have mentioned this in the previous slide. This French word difference carries two ideas, difference and differential, which means that meaning is always created by difference from other words, and it is always deferred, always postponed, because one word leads to another and then another. There is never a final resting place, which means that if we are understanding a word, for example, we are understanding table. So we understand table because there is nothing like table in the table itself. For example, we can use any words for that table, that thing, that object, but we understand that this is a table because this is not a chair, this is not a door, this is not a window. So we understand a word in relation to another word. So that's what Derrida means, that when we understand a word in relation to another words, and because one words leads us to another and then another, and this is never ever going to end. So there is a relationship going on between each words, and we understand their meaning while keeping these relation in our minds. And the second feature is that deconstruction focuses on binary opposites, which means that Western philosophy has always worked in pairs. For example, male, female, good, evil, speech, writing, presence, absence. Usually, one side of the pair is privileged over the other. For example, we consider that speech has for example, like speech has often been seen as more authentic, while writing is seen as just a copy. Derrida turns this upside down. He shows that writing is just as important and sometimes even more revealing than speech. So, deconstruction doesn't destroy the binary, but it shows how unstable it is. We can understand this whole thing in simple line. For example, in Western philosophy, in Western education, or we can say Western way of thinking, there is always everything is in pairs, like male, female, good, evil, and this pair is not based on equality. There is always a negative connotation, or we can say superiority or inferiority things there going on. For example, male is considered superior to female, or good is good and evil is bad. But Derrida is against this idea. He accepts that there is a binary thing going on between words and between things, but there is no superiority to one over the another. He says that there is binary, but it is very unstable in its nature.